No mai, haere mai, welcome to 3 News. 242 people were on board Air India Flight 171 from Ahmedabad to London when it crashed into a densely populated area moments after takeoff. One person walked away from the wreckage with what appeared to be minor injuries. Everyone else on board perished. It was the first Boeing 787 Dreamliner to ever crash, embedding itself in a hostel used by local doctors and killing at least 5 medical students on the ground. The CEO of Air India, Christchurch man Campbell Wilson, expressed deep sorrow over the incident, saying the airline was now focused entirely on the needs of their passengers, crew members, their families and loved ones. Senior correspondent Lisette Raymer reports.
Seatbelts were fastened, passengers were settled in for the long haul, but this 10-hour journey ended in just seconds. Flight 171 had barely left the runway when it began sinking from the sky. The aircraft's 2 pilots didn't have a minute, just a moment, to wrestle with controls and send a distress call. Mayday, no thrust, losing power, unable to lift. The Boeing Dreamliner hit the ground, the fuel tanks exploded, and a huge fireball erupted. A column of thick smoke filling the sky, an ominous black cloud hanging over the airport as other passengers waited for their own flights out. I was sitting at home and there was a loud noise. It felt like an earthquake, this man says. I came and saw smoke in a crashed plane. There were bodies everywhere. The plane had smashed into a medical hall of residence used by local doctors, now embedded in the building's side. Hundreds were eating in the canteen at the time, forced to run for their lives. This woman's son leapt from a second-floor window moments before the plane made impact. At least 5 medical students have been confirmed dead. Families rushed to learn the fate of their loved ones on board, but there was little hope anyone could survive. Astonishingly, one did. In a video most need to re-watch to believe, 40-year-old Viswash Ramesh walks away from his seat 11A in a blood-stained shirt. Lucky, miraculous, alive. He said he heard a bang 30 seconds into the flight, and when he next opened his eyes, he was surrounded by passengers, all dead. Among them, his brother. Ramesh is the sole survivor of 242 people heading to London. British, Portuguese and Canadian travellers included, but most were Indian nationals. The flight had been a dream come true for the Joshi family. After years of planning, they snapped the selfie to send to loved ones, celebrating their one-way journey to a new, bright life in London. An all too familiar photo, now surely one of the saddest of its kind.
Goodbye, India.
Bye, goodbye. 10-hour flight back to England.
These wellness influencers spoke of their love for India just hours before boarding their flight home.
Going back happily calm.
Futures cut short, without warning, and currently without explanation.
Nothing is working. Nothing. Not even the light is working.
A passenger who travelled on the same plane earlier in the day filmed this video at the time, highlighting concerns with the aircraft.
Worst airlines in the world.
The CEO of the airline is New Zealander Campbell Wilson.
Anything we report must be accurate and not speculative. We owe that to everyone involved. For now, our teams are working around the clock to support passengers, crew and their families, as well as investigators, however we can.
Our Prime Minister, former Air New Zealand boss Christopher Luxon, knows Wilson and says he will be in touch.
Just to express tremendous sadness of what is an absolute tragedy.
The search for answers is already well underway. Investigations continued overnight and teams from around the world are en route to join the probe.
It can take a year before a final report is released, depending on the nature of the accident.
Already, focus has been pulled to the landing gear, with questions as to why it was still down when it should be up to reduce drag. And also the flaps deployed along the wing to give the aircraft extra lift during takeoff. They seem to have been retracted. The answers will help bring closure to grieving families, but only one will get the comfort of being able to hug their loved one tight again.
OK, Lisette, we know there are a lot of Dreamliners in operation around the world at the moment. What has Air New Zealand had to say about this?
Yeah, Air New Zealand has 14 of these 787-9s. The CEO, Greg Foran, today has said he is confident that the operations of Air New Zealand are safe. He doesn't want those passengers to be concerned. This is, remember, the first fatal Boeing Dreamliner accident in history, so it is incredibly rare, and obviously those investigations are ongoing. Foran has expressed Air New Zealand's sympathies to Air India directly. He knows Campbell Wilson personally. He was actually with him in New Delhi just last week, so those conversations have been taking place overnight. And tonight we also have fresh reports, Sam, that an Indian couple who lived in Auckland for 5 years up until 2021 are also among those who have been identified as victims on this plane.
OK, incredibly sad news there. Lisette, thanks so much.